So, a little bit loud, a little bit noisy. This is a neighbour's Massey Ferguson 35s. It's after getting the full nut and bolt restoration on the engine, and he wants me to do a bit of work on it with the brakes and seals and stuff like that and give it a good looking over. So it has a transfer box on the back, so I'm going to take that off. I'm going to put it up there, and then I'm going to turn it around, reverse it in, and start getting a look at this. I see there's a bit of an oil leak. We'll take a look at that. So that's the transfer box off. The first little oil leak, I think it was just, we're giving it a tightening up there. It's just some bung, so I'm going to give that a little wipe of a cloth now that I've tightened it and make sure that it's okay. I'm happy that the clutch is adjusted nicely. I see there's a bolt missing there. This is Sims. Didn't think that they made the fuel filters for these, so I have make sure all of that's sealed up and not leaking. I'll throw a bolt in there and a nut. I think there's something strange with the, I'm also after fitting this nut behind here because this was screwed. This was going way in there, and it was actually touching that, and it was hard to get your finger. It's hard to get your finger behind it to pull it. So now I can adjust it with this lock nut, and I can get it to grip it a bit better. So that's just another little job. I'll tighten that lock nut up behind that, and we'll get it sticking out a bit more. Have it looking right. So I may as well start with the simple jobs. That's a bit better. You can get your finger behind that a little bit easier. So that's number one job done. Had to stop the engine in a hurry. At least now you can grab that. So, and how are we looking down here? Looking okay. So there's a spring. The spring isn't great. I'll replace that spring. I think I have springs over here. Job number two. I see another job straight away. That tyre isn't very, it doesn't have a whole lot of air in it. So, pick out a nice one of these springs. That's very, very weak. That's not going to be doing that, and that's for keeping it on its tick over. Tick over is set at 800 rest per minute. I'll be setting it a bit lower than that. So there is our spring. So I think something like that is a nice replacement for him. So it'll be a little bit fiddly, but we'll get it. Get it on, I'll get it right. I'll come back when I have that done because I'll probably need pliers and stuff here. So I replaced the spring, a nice shiny one, and I put a washer underneath that nut as well. So that's just going to look a bit more fresher, and it's working a lot better now. And this spring, of course, is pulling back the pull to stop, which is exactly what we want. So I'm going to now fit a nut and bolt through there. Okay, nut bolt washer right through there, so that's good. So let's have a look at the next issues. I know one of these rear axle seals is fairly badly leaking, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's not looking great, so that needs to be done. That's no problem, I can do that. May as well do the other side as well when we're at it. So I think I might start jacking this up and try and get the heavy jobs done on it now while I can. Taking off the air filter, and this bracket is getting in the way of the throttle rod, so I'm going to try and move it down to them holes down there where it should just clear it. So that's the next job. So there was a bit of DIY job done on this. It's too long, and that gutter bolt nut is hitting off a lot of other parts, and it's getting a bit scratchy, stopping it actually revving, to be honest with you. So I'm going to try and improve the look of this, and I'm going to try and do a bit of work on this to get this functional. So there's a good bit of rock in these wheel bearings, so probably see and hear that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the cotter pin. I'm going to try adjusting them up, obviously jacking up front axle each side, and see if I can get that out. If I can't, or when it's jacked up and I turn it and I'm not happy with the sound the bearing's making, I'll be getting new bearings. So what we have in there instead of a cotter pin is a kind of a nail with a funny sort of a washer on it, so that won't be going back in. I'll make sure to put a nice split pin into it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a jack up and tighten up that wheel nut and get a feel for it. It is looking a bit dirty, so what I can see myself doing is taking out the hub and giving it a good clean through the parts washer. The bearings actually feel fairly good when I turn it. I'm not making any sort of a bad noise. So what I'm just going to do is give it a nip here. Nip it up a bit. Oh yeah, that's starting to feel good. Give it a nip, and usually what I do is I tighten them up too much because they're roller taper bearings, and that just lines all the little rollers in the tapers, and then let it back to where you want it to be. And I would say around there is where we want to be. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the wheel, take off the hub, and I'm going to give it a clean because I don't like the look of this grease. But anyway, I just wanted to check that first, see where we're going. So now I can take it off. But what I'll do is I'll let down the wheels first and take off. Let down the wheel first and take off the wheel nuts. So that is the hub off. So we can give all this a bit of a clean down. It got new wheel studs, so I'll put a bit of anti-seize grease on them. So now I'm going to bring this over to the parts washer and give everything a good clean out. So anyone who's following these videos on the gold belly 35 I have will see that when I did the hubs on this parts washer was very handy. So this seal here is very bad. Is it? Oh no. Oh, what that is? They don't normally have that. Again, look at that hub seal there. That keeps your grease in. I think I have a new one there anyway if it needs to be replaced. Easy job. This brush is meant for the job. Brilliant for cleaning out these hubs. Look at that. So I could give it a good clean out. We'll fill this full of new grease if we're happy with the bearings. Some serious dirt in there. What harm? Yeah, need to keep going. So I'll come back when I'm happy that that's cleaned out fully. I have some new old stock Timken bearings. These are the same make as what was in the tractor from new. Now I know from fitting the spurious second-hand wheel bearings that anyone who's been working on these vintage tractors for a long time will tell you, you just don't get better than Timken. So they were just kept in grease, so a little clean. I'm going to replace the wheel bearing because it's just a little bit grubby looking and it's a bit worn. You can see the tapers are just a little bit below the surface. So I'll give them a clean, and I'll definitely fit the bearings to each front. I think get them matching Timken, so that's original quality. This is a Timken as well, so yeah, 09067, the same as those, but it's just it's time expired. It's dead. So that's the next job, to clean the kingpin, get everything nice and clean, and put the bearings into the hub. Tap out the outer race of the bearing. Now on with the headlamp. Yeah, there's a slit in there first. Line it up. You can be lucky with these, or they can be a pig. I think we're moving already. Yeah. Lovely. And those new old stock Timken bearings are still available. They are a good bit more expensive than these spurious wheel bearing kits, but the quality is as factory. So I'm going to give this another quick clean out before I put in the new outer race. Outer race sitting in there, I'm just going to give them a tap home now. Tapped home, so I will now just give it a wipe around. There's a bit of grease on it from my hands and stuff, and fit the inner race into it. Packing that bearing with grease, some fresh grease, and it fits in A1, feels 110%, so I'm very happy with that. And the thing that I'm most happy about is this is factory standard bearings. It's not spurious or second hand, it's the quality they left the factory with. So I'm and I knew there was a reason why I stocked up on them, because they fit Ferguson 20s and loads of others, so it's always good to have the genuine quality. Well, I've blown it out again, so I'm going to start filling it full of fresh grease, and we'll reassemble it then. So very happy with how it's turned out so far. The parts washer does a great job of cleaning them out, especially when you can get the brushes to go right down through them. You can actually clean it right back to the factory primer, and you'll have seen that in the videos on the gold belly. You just have to clean the nut and the two washers. So I've already put a good lot of that grease in there, so that is about right. If they're around the seal at the back, I'll give this another wipe over then when I have it assembled, so that it's all that grease from the hands off it. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Ready for our hub. So I'll go and clean up all of these and I'll fit the bearing. So now, got our captive washer cleaned up and our nut cleaned up. So what we'll do is we'll take our bearing, pack a bit more grease into it, pack it all in around it there, work it in to all the tapers, all the rollers. That'll mean it'll be lubricated straight away. And we take our captive washer, find out where that groove is for that. Now there was another washer behind this, and I know why the reason why there was another washer behind it is because that washer goes in front of the bearing. What am I thinking? This bearing was worn and that was there to take the free play out of it. So we won't need that second washer. They never have a second washer. So we'll take that. We won't be refitting that second washer, just this captive washer. So our bearing all greased up. Oh yeah, lovely. Can't beat new bearings, especially good quality ones. Okay. Now, plenty of grease, it's very easy to rub it away. Now, and then on with our nut. And the same crack here. We'll tension them too much, turn the hub a bit, and then we'll back it off. That'll line up all them rollers in the taper. It should be A1. It's like adjusting brakes or anything like that. You go too far. Oh gee, yeah, that feels brilliant. Oh yeah, silent. You can't beat that feeling of that new bearings. So that is where I'm going to leave that. I'm happy with that now. And I'm going to put going to get a nice cotter pin for it. So we're back together. Again, that second washer that was in there to take up the free play of the worn bearing is not needed. So I put in a nice little cotter pin in there. So it's nicely tapped in there, and it's tapped in on the underside as well, and it's just going to stay nice and neat there. So I'm going to fill this cap with grease and I'm going to screw it